What's going on, Broncos country? Welcome into the Broncos Breakdown. I'm Matthew Peterson, and on today's show, we're going to react to Mel Kiper's updated NFL Draft Big Board, where he ranks his top 25 players, and with the Broncos picking at number 12, we can look at who Sean and George Payton may select based on Mel Kiper's rankings. Now, let me just start off by saying this. Don't focus on what their team needs are. We have to get through free agency before the draft. And a lot of times, team needs change after free agency before the draft. So don't get too hung up on the Broncos need to draft an edge, a corner, a quarterback. Focus more on the player rankings. And once we get through free agency and we know what positions the Broncos did or didn't sign, we'll have a much better idea as to what positions they may target with that 12th overall pick. But for now, just focus on the players and putting together your own personal rankings of, I like this guy over this guy over this guy, but if they sign an edge rusher or whatever, well, we know that can probably change up the priority list at number 12. Now, that being said, let's jump into the list, starting with 1 through 5, where Mel Kiper has Caleb Williams number 1, no surprise, Marvin Harrison number 2, Jayden Daniels at number 3. That's a bit of a climb. Odunze at number 4 and Drake Maye at number 5. So let's talk about the top 3 quarterbacks, specifically Jayden Daniels and Drake Maye, because I think Caleb Williams is going number 1. I don't think the Chicago Bears are going to trade the number 1 pick overall away, so I wouldn't get your heart set on him. However, Jayden Daniels and Drake Maye, they are not so set in stone. We have heard some buzz about Drake Maye maybe sliding in the draft, and if that happens, I'm sure Denver would do more than just kick the tires to see what it would cost to move up and get him. But Jayden Daniels could be a bit of a floater where he didn't come into this past college football season with great draft rankings, and after a phenomenal Heisman campaign, well, now he is flirting with the top 5, top 3 overall pick. Let me just remind you of 2 things. 1, it takes 2 to trade. So as badly as you may want to move up to get one of those 2 quarterbacks, you need to find someone to move down. And there are so many stories of teams and coaches and GMs trying to move up to get a guy, but they couldn't find a trade partner. And ultimately, it becomes another what if in the NFL. So that's number 1. Number 2, to go from the 12th overall pick to pick 3, pick 4, pick 5, it would take a big haul. Right? We saw the 49ers do that from 12 to 3 pre-draft to get Trey Lance, and that involved giving away multiple future first-round picks. Keep in mind, Denver does not have a second-round pick this year, and also, they have not had a first-round pick for the last 2 years. So this might be something where the Denver Broncos decide, we may just sit this one out. We just can't go with 1 first-round pick for 4 or 5 years, and no Super Bowl to show for. That's just too big of a gamble. We don't want to be the next Carolina Panthers, who, by the way, even had first-round picks before they got Bryce Young, unlike Denver going into 2024's draft. Now, speaking of Jayden Daniels and Drake Maye, if you had to pick one quarterback, because let's say you are in the camp of these guys are surefire, who cares about future picks, F them picks, go get one of these superstar quarterbacks, which, listen, I understand. I just don't feel like Denver is in a great spot timing-wise after giving up 2 firsts, 2 seconds for Russell Wilson to do it all over again for another quarterback. And if it doesn't work out, oh boy, it's going to be a bloodbath for the Broncos for the next decade plus maybe. Now, let's move on to picks 6 or rankings 6 through 10 in Mel Kiper's big board. He's got Malik Nabers at number 6, Brock Bowers at 7, Joe Alt and Fashanu, the top 2 tackles at 8 and 9, and Alabama's edge rusher Dallas Turner at number 10. I want to zero in on Brock Bowers for a moment because he is the best tight end prospect we have seen in a while. Like, I know Kyle Pitts went 4th overall, the highest a tight end has ever gone, but Brock Bowers, I think, is a better prospect coming into this year's draft than Kyle Pitts was back then. He's the real deal, right? He can run after the catch. He can block. He can separate. He is the next Travis Kelce in terms of a tight end that's a receiving threat and can also get physical and chippy a little bit more like George Kittle. He's almost like a mold of the 2. Now, I love Brock Bowers. We'll see if he's available at 12. And if he is, I think that would be a very good and safe pick for Denver. I don't see a way that Brock Bowers does not turn into a great NFL player. Now, the other two guys on that list were two tackles, Joe Alt and Fashanu. No one's really talked about Denver drafting an offensive tackle very much. And as the things stand right now, they probably won't, right? They've got Garrett Bowles and Mike McGlinchey under contract and highly paid. However, Denver is about $20 million over the salary cap. One way they can get below the cap is by trading Garrett Bowles before June 1st and saving $16 million. If they were to trade Garrett Bowles because they decide, you know what, we want to move off that contract anyway, we can upgrade in our eyes with Joe Alt or Fashanu and reset the clock at left tackle. Win, win, win. Save money, improve, and reset the clock. If Denver believes all three things of those are going to be true, I could see them making that type of move for a guy like Alt or Fashanu. Now, as for number 10 on that list, Dallas Turner, the edge rusher out of Alabama. I've got mixed reviews on Dallas Turner. Physically, he's gifted. He has all the traits for you to look for, right? He's 6'4", 245 pounds. He's got great frame. He's got great size. He has great speed. He also has production. Usually every single draft, there's a guy that gets picked because of his traits, but it never really produced much in college. Dallas Turner, 53 tackles, 10 sacks, 2 forced fumbles. He produced. So where's my hesitation? Well, he was opposite of some awesome edge rushers at Alabama. And we never really got to see him outside of this past year be the clear-cut, dominant number one edge rusher. And I just don't have a great gut feeling that Dallas Turner is going to live up to a top 10 pick potential or number 12 by the Broncos. I know Denver needs some help at edge rusher, right? Jonathan Cooper, Baron Browning, Nick Bonito. I maintain the same stance I've had all season. They are good. They are not great. They are not elite, meaning you could definitely improve. There is room for improvement, but I would be content with Denver rolling with these three guys and Zach Allen on the line and then adding someone in day 2 or early day 3 in the draft instead of just reaching for an edge rusher just for the sake of taking an edge rusher. If Sean and George Payton believe that Dallas Turner is better than any corner in this draft class, then okay, I can get behind that, right? But if they just want to take an edge rusher simply because they want to take an edge rusher, I'm not going to get behind that if Dallas Turner is the selection. Now, before we get on to the rest of today's show, I do want to tell you guys about our awesome sponsor, which is Game Time. So, Game Time is the best spot to get last-minute tickets at the lowest price guaranteed. If you want to go catch a Colorado Avalanche game, or you want to see the Nuggets when they return from the NBA All-Star break, or any other sporting event in your local area, get started with Game Time today and make sure to use our promo code BroncosChat for $20 off. Producer Chipper is a sicko for this one, but if you want to go see a Rockies game, you're going to be crushing a lot of domestic light beers to get through it. But hey, with Game Time, you can save $20 and save some money going to the concession stands in the process. I don't know if Game Time's going to like that part of the read, but okay. Download Game Time today. Use promo code BroncosChat for $20 off. If you're going to go to a game or a concert or a comedy event, why not save $20? So download Game Time today, last-minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed, and use that promo code BroncosChat for $20 off. Terms apply, but once again, redeem code BroncosChat for $20 off. Let's move on to Mel Kiper's big board to rankings 11 through 15. We got Brian Thomas, wide receiver from LSU. We got an offensive lineman, and then we get a run of corners. Cooper DeJean, Nate Wiggins, and Terrion Arnold. Let's take a closer look at those three corners because right now it's very much up in the air, I would say, as to who the number one corner in this draft class is. Is it the Great White Hope out of Iowa? Is it Nate Wiggins from Clemson? Or is it the lockdown corner out of Alabama, Terrion Arnold? Let's talk about Cooper DeJean here for a moment. He's 6'1", 207 pounds, 7 career interceptions at Iowa City. Now, his 2023 season was cut short due to an in-practice injury in November, so unfortunately, we didn't get to see him late in the year in the Big Ten championship game or in their bowl game against some all-time great, powerful SEC school, but he's an excellent run stopper. He's a big playmaker. He had 3 pick sixes in 2022, and that was on a defense that had 2 first-round picks in Lucas Van Ness and Jack Campbell. Yeah, when you ask Hawkeye fans who was the best defender on that team, they don't say the 2 guys that went first round. They say this guy. Now, here's the catch with Cooper DeJean. It's just blatantly racist. He's a white corner. Like, we're all thinking it. It's the white elephant in the room here. You already have one in Riley Moss. You might as well go for the entire collection. So I'll say the quiet part out loud. It'll either be a great pick or you'll be the laughing stock of the NFL for the next 5 years and be the victim of so many memes and jokes. Do with that what you will. Let's move on to the next corner. Nate Wiggins, 6'2", 185 pounds. I've got 2 words to sum up Nate Wiggins: long and fast. I think sometimes the NFL draft nerds blow their loads over quarterback hand size and other measurements too much. But if there is one measurement to take a look at, I think it's cornerback, wingspan, and height. Because an extra quarter inch, an extra inch, that's what she said, can make a big difference because of a pass breakup or getting mossed. Now, the biggest knock for Wiggins is his overall strength. He's got incredible speed. He can recover if he loses at the moment of the ball being snapped. He's got great length, I mentioned, but doesn't have that great overall strength to maybe fight through some receivers and break up passes. Moving on to our third cornerback, Terrion Arnold, 6 foot, 195 pounds, plenty of experience in Tuscaloosa, 21 career games played, 6 interceptions. He is a shutdown corner. And it would be pretty cool for Denver to have a no-fly zone consisting of Alabama defensive backs and PS2 and Terrion Arnold. I am in the camp of do not force a quarterback at pick number 12. Yes, Denver is going to pick a quarterback in my opinion. Where that pick happens, I'm not confident yet. But don't take a quarterback at pick 12 simply for the sake of taking a quarterback. If you feel like one of those 3 corners is better than Bo Nix or Michael Penix or J.J. McCarthy, go take one of those 3 corners. Because, yeah, you might not have the answer to quarterback, and that might not immediately result in winning football games. But what I don't want to see happen is Denver takes, say, Bo Nix at pick 12, quickly realize he's not him. It's Paxton Lynch or it's Drew Lock all over again. And then you're back in the 2025 or 2026 draft looking for a quarterback, and you're looking for a starting corner because you didn't take one in 2024. Take the best player. Don't force a quarterback selection at pick 12. If you think one of the quarterbacks is better than those guys, then go do it. But don't just move quarterback up the priority list ahead of the guys and players you feel like are going to be bona fide starters in this league. Now, before we get on to the rest of today's show, I got a Slack from my boss this morning, so already not off to a great start, and it was Broncos Breakdown is stuck at 20,366 subscribers for the last few days. What's going on? Help me answer my boss by getting us to 20,400 subscribers. If you're looking for a free Broncos YouTube channel, this is it for you. Moving on to ranking 16 through 20. We've got some edge rushers now, right? Latu out of UCLA. Then we get Quinyon Mitchell from Toledo. We have another offensive lineman duo. And then Jared Verse out of Florida State. We'll put a pin in the offensive line because I think the Garrett Bowles conversation earlier pretty much summed it up. But let's talk about the 2 edge rushers here, Latu and Verse. Because I could see a world where Dallas Turner goes top 10. And if Denver feels like they want to go get a premier edge rusher, these are going to be your next best guys, Latu and Verse. Now, Latu's interesting. He started his career off at Washington, and then he was told his football career was done. He ends up transferring to UCLA. He has 2 great seasons for the Bruins, but the medicals do have to check out for him. Jared Verse, meanwhile, long career at Florida State, very productive player for the Seminoles. Maybe doesn't specifically stand out at any specific trait or anything like that, but all in all, a very well-rounded edge rusher. I think if Denver ends up taking one of these 2 guys, this could be a trade-back scenario where the Broncos ultimately decide, listen, we have more needs than the 12th pick can satisfy. We don't have a second rounder. We've got 1 pick in day 2. If someone wants to jump from 20, 21, 22, somewhere in that range maybe, all the way to 12, by all means, our phones are open. We'll go back 8, 9, 10 spots, whatever it may be, and pick up day two picks in the process for that. And we'll be very content with having some more bullets in the chamber. Now let's move on to the rest of Mel Kiper's big board, where we have Tyler Guyton, offensive tackle out of Oklahoma. Darius Robinson out of Mizzou. He has been a late riser. Keep an eye on him. We have J.J. McCarthy as well, Amarius Mims, and Keon Coleman to kind of round out Mel Kiper's big board. Now, one guy I do want to touch on here really quickly is Jayden Newton, the defensive tackle out of Illinois. I just want to give him some airtime because I think he's the real deal. 6'2", 295 pounds. So he's got that athletic build and that motor to still rush the passer while also stopping the run. He also combined for 103 pressures from 2022 to 2023. That was the most by any interior defensive lineman. So let's say Denver does trade back and they want to beef up the interior D-line, which desperately needs Wendy's level of beef. Jayden Newton, he's your guy. Now, one player on that top 5 rankings we just looked at, J.J. McCarthy. The rumored romance is what I am calling it because coming out of the Super Bowl, one of the big, quiet, but like subtle, but not so subtle, if that's even a thing, storylines was J.J. McCarthy to the Broncos is something to keep an eye on. Sean Payton apparently has a little bit of a crush on him. We know Denver needs a quarterback. J.J. McCarthy is definitely a name to keep an eye on. And I know pick 12 seems early for McCarthy, but Sean Payton did speak with, I think it was either Mike Klitz or Kay Adams, one of the two, and said, we don't care where everyone else thinks these guys are supposed to go. If we like a guy, we're going to take him. Basically, they're not afraid to reach on a quarterback. If all the mock draft experts say that guy goes round 2, don't look at Denver and think, well, they're surely not going to take someone that early because Mel Kiper said they're a day 2 guy. If they fall in love with J.J. McCarthy, he could be the selection at pick number 12. Now, speaking of pick number 12, a few days ago, I asked you all to get in the comment section and let me know who you want the Broncos to take at number 12. And I just want to show some love to those of you that commented below. So Curtis said J.J. McCarthy. John Houston said Jared Verse, along with Kevin. I've got Let's Rock It Right, I think. Bo Nix, along with Mr. Dennis Foster. Salt of Solomon, good to see you. Longtime viewer. Terrion Arnold, I like that selection a lot. Daniel Wilson, Drake Maye. I did see a mock draft that had Drake Maye fall to all the way to number 11 or number 12. I think number 11 to the Vikings. So I guess it could happen. Brian also going with Terrion Arnold. Eddie Martinez, longtime viewer. Michael Penix. And then American Punisher, which that's a weird name, J.J. McCarthy. So let me ask you this question to wrap up the video. Who do you not want to pick at number 12? Worst case scenario, Roger Goodell gets in the podium and says, with the 12th pick in the 2024 NFL Draft, the Denver Broncos select fill in the blank. Give me that name down below in the comment section. All right, that will do it for us on this edition of the Broncos Breakdown. I always appreciate those of you that take time out of your day to come hang out with us. So we're going to sign off and let you get back to the rest of your day.